Morning, family. Excuse me, it's Tasha, MAMABEAR prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel, where we just talk about emergency preparedness, food preservation, just the importance of you preparing your family for different situations that might head your way. Emergency crisis type situations, natural disasters, man-made disasters, all types of things, okay? So today what I wanted to talk about is, hey, keeping the theme going on food, because food is an issue now, but it's going to get very, very rough, you guys, for us for the next to me, foreseeable future once it really, really hits and gets thick, okay? So today I'm going to talk you through what to expect when the food starts to disappear, right? When it starts to leave the shelves, when it has finally exited the building altogether, when famine actually starts being talked about hugely in, everywhere, across the board, across the world, then these are the things that we're going to start to see happen, okay? And I'm giving you some just very practical things that are going to happen to expect, that I'm sure that you know I'm going to mention if you are following this topic at all, and have concerns, and then maybe some stuff that you haven't thought about, okay? This will have huge, huge impacts to us as a country, as a world, really, okay? And then, of course, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to give you some tips, different things that you could do or implement to prepare to get ready, okay? So topic wise, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. I've got 11 things for you. So the very first thing I think that will happen, could happen, is absolutely, actually not could, will happen, and I think that it's a no-brainer, and that's panic buying. So right now, stores look great. I think that this is a scary thought right here, because still you have a large part, the majority of the population, who still does not, either is so oblivious and doesn't watch the news, doesn't watch the world news, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't care about what's going on, and is actually oblivious to what is happening with our food. And then you have a part of the population that absolutely knows or may know or is starting to hear things and is still not taking it serious. And the reason why they're not taking it serious is you have a big entity saying we're going to have food shortages, but then you go to a grocery store and it is stocked full of food. And we are so accustomed and so used to seeing food on that shelf at all times, since for our whole lives, okay? For most of us, our whole lives. And so they can't even fathom there not being food on the shelf, okay? They're like, okay, maybe the only time they even started to see stuff was in the middle, the panic of a pandemic that had not happened again for a large majority of them have never gone through anything like that before. And so now that that's winding down, they're like, okay, they don't believe that any kind of panic buying will ensue. But I will tell you, once it starts going and there truly is no food to replace the food on the shelves, when we get to that point, you're going to see panic buying, because everybody and their mother is going to be able to see that food is actually really not coming back on the shelves. And that's an issue, okay? And that's something that people can't ignore, okay? Anybody that buys groceries, they can't ignore. I'll tell you, people who eat out, restaurants, fast food, whatever, get their food delivered, food systems, food companies, you're going to see it. It's going to happen just like the stores. It's not going to just be grocery stores. It's going to be anybody who distributes food in any kind of manner is going to have an issue, okay? And so they will feel it, you guys, even if they're not the type that goes to the grocery store. Yeah, they'll be too late to the game of catching the grocery store. They're going to feel it as soon as they roll up to, insert fast food restaurant and they can't get their food, okay? And it's already started with certain places not being able to give food, or restaurants not being able to supply certain things on their menus already. Another thing I have is limits. Again, common sense one. Some stores are already implementing this a little bit, but typically they do this because they have a said product and it's the people. They want to keep people from buying bulk, buying multiples of stuff, right? So they'll put on a limit so that they can serve more customers with the amount of product that they have for something, right? But I think what you're going to see is limitations, but it's going to be more because the store is seeing that they do not have the backup. When you do limits on people, it's to make that product in your store last as long as possible and to serve the most customers possible. You're going to see limitations eventually, but it's going to be because they know that the food is not going to be replaced. The said item is not going to be replaced. And so they're going to start, because what they don't want to do is panic buy and ensue, and then all of a sudden their store's empty and they have nothing to replace everything. Okay. These are companies. They're going to want to try to keep the flow of money as much as possible. And so you're going to see limits, but from this point of view, they're going to be doing it because they have less and less inventory to be able to replace it, or they're being told it's harder to get the replacement for it. Okay. And as we move forward into the future, these things go from, okay, kind of normal to more dire, more dire, more dire. Okay. And then you're going to start hearing the rumblings, because again, it's something that you're not going to be able to deny. Okay. 3, I think protest. I think the minute the food is gone, you're going to have all these people in the streets, and they're going to be frustrated. They're going to be upset, and they're going to be protesting and rioting the government, and how dare us run out of food, and how come you didn't tell us we were going to run out of food, and we're starving. And you're just going to have a lot of angry people in the streets demanding that our country gets us food. Like, I don't even know what to say about this. One, you better not be in them streets, okay? Because you have prepared. One, you're burning energy being out in them streets, and you can't afford that with rationing food and doing things in your home to make sure that the food that you have secured lasts for as long as possible. And the last thing you should be doing is doing any kind of strenuous work that can't be put off, right? There's certain work that has to be done, right? Chores and different things around the house, but you should not be on them streets breathing heavy, sweating, doing all that stuff. That should not be. Plus, it's dangerous. Okay. But protest, I think that people are going to hit the streets and be devastated and be upset and be demanding that the government fix this problem, right? They're going to be demanding, where's our checks? I don't know why you'd want money or checks when probably the economy at this point is falling. And then 2, what are you buying with that? It's not going to be food, because there's no food to be bought. It's not like you're going to be dealing with inflation. You're going to be dealing with there's no food. Okay. They're going to be protesting. And the problem with the protesting is now that is a way that the government comes in and saves the day and starts, the Great Reset, the New World Order type agendas to come in and save the day. Okay, so I think you need to be very, very careful how we engage ourselves in those types of manners and what we're asking for and what those type of people are going to get in return. All right. Number 4 on my list is food crimes, right? Of course, you're going to have people who are going to be breaking into home, not looking for your jewelry, baby. They could care less about your Rolex. What they want is your food. Do you have canned food? Do you have, they're going to be going in there to clean out your kitchen, to clean out your pantry. Okay. That is what they're going to be doing. And so crime, you're going to need to be careful about what you let people see. I just, thought about a note in my tips. Okay, so food crimes. People watching people towards the end when there's still a little bit of food, but panic buying starting. You're gonna have those people that are gonna be trying to prey on people and watching people and seeing, hey, who were the last people to get a lot of food? Who were the last of my neighbors that I saw bringing a bunch of food? That type of thing. Okay, so you have to be very, very careful. The closer and the deeper we get into this, what you're letting people see, because food crime is going to be crazy. Okay. Number 5 thing I have on the list is food banks will close. So if you're depending on food banks, soup kitchens, places like that to get your food, I think that you have to be careful, because eventually those places will have to shut down. They won't have the food being donated anymore, because people will be keeping that food for themselves, and they won't be able to provide that service. Maybe soup kitchens are still a thing, because you can make a soup fairly cheaper, right? That will feed a ton of people. And so, maybe soup kitchens will pop up, hey, come get a small bowl of soup or a cup of soup, and you keep moving. So it's no more this box of food, but you can come through and get a bowl of hot soup. That still might be a thing, okay? Because it's possibly doable. But as we get deeper into this, years into this, that stuff's gone, okay? Because they're not going to be able to maintain it. It's going to be every man for themselves, every dog for themselves, whatever the saying you want to pick. It's going to be brutal. Number 6 thing, okay, so this is more of my predictions or things that I think are going to happen or what to expect. 6, I think your southern eastern states are going to be the first ones to run out of food. I say this because every time we have first of all, anytime we have any kind of shortage issue like gas, it was always the southern eastern states. Those subscribers were the ones that were hitting me up the most and first as far as shortages. The gas was gone. It was quick, okay? When it comes to food, those are the states, you guys, where the subscribers send me the most pictures. I see the most video content from empty shelves and things like that from your southeastern states. That's what I see, okay? The most of when we are showing and seeing things on YouTube and on the internet and what people are sharing with people and what people are putting out there. It's those states that I see have more empty shelves right now, that run out and have shortages. I'm having subscribers send me information about, hey, I went to the store, there was no eggs, there was no milk today. Hey, I went here, there was no this, there was no that, right? And it's all southern eastern states, okay? Like that whole chunk, okay? So if you live in one of those states, I think that those are going to be the first states that actually really implode when it comes to food and that panic buying starting. I think panic starting will kind of be everywhere at the same time just because it will be so big. And I think that we'll be talking about it on the news. I think we'll be talking about it more at that point. That's just my opinion. So I think southern eastern states will be the first to fully have to deal with the no food, the panic buying. I don't even know that it will be a panic buying thing. It will just, they're already dealing with it down there, okay? More so than, let's say, even me going to the grocery store. The shelves are full. Is there some shortages? Sure, there's some shortages, but there's shortages like, oh, the truck didn't come in shortages. They're not like, I'll go a couple days later and it's stocked. So it's just same thing. Southern California, when I was down there, it was stocked, but yet I was getting pictures every day of shortages everywhere, all over the country in different places. But when I think about it now in this topic, southern eastern states, okay? Number 7 thing I have is rural will go first and then cities. So again, anytime in the past when I've talked about food shortages, empty shelves, that type of thing, I always have subscribers who come back and say, yes, there's shortages, and this is where they live, and it's southern eastern states. And then I have big city people that are like, no, I'm in New York. It's totally stocked, or I was in Southern California for myself. And other subscribers in California was like, it's stocked. What are you talking about? Like, there's no shortages. There's not gonna be no panic buying. I've never dealt with a panic buying situation ever in my life. There's no way. Not even like they're listening to what I'm saying, but they're not really believing it still because it's not what they're seeing. Okay. And so I think that will continue. It's just common sense. You have more supplies, more trucks, more stuff being delivered to a city, vice a rural place. And so the minute 1 or 2 trucks can't make it in a rural area, that whole area is affected, and you can see it right away. Where a city, it's going to take time for it to really deplete down to where you do not see anything. People see that and then panic buy. And then from there, it's scary because can it even remotely be restocked in any capacity at this point, or have we gone too far? So rural cities first, rural places first, and then cities will be next. Next thing I have is a ration system. Okay. This is where your government comes in and tries to save the day with some sort of rationing system where they come in and say, oh my goodness, things are crashing. This is bad. Maybe a little bit is coming in, but maybe it's just our farmers that we are trying to they've procured farmers and land, and they're like, here you go, here's a stipend, here's money, plant, 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 plant. And then as that food comes in, there's some sort of rationing system for you to get your certain amount of potatoes, certain amount of carrots, that type of thing. I think there won't be any more meat. I think that this system, that's the way that they fix their little meat issues. It's just a bad day. It's not good, okay? And so I think it's important for you right now to get your meat animals, right? Get your chickens for eggs. Get your garden going. I think that's just super important, because this will be the perfect storm, perfect scenario for your government to come in and save the day, okay? With some sort of rationing system, where they can keep tabs on everybody, okay? And if you don't know already, they're already keeping tabs right now on what are you buying, how much food are you buying, that type of thing. So every 2 weeks is when I see and let them see on paper what I'm buying, okay? I'm buying these groceries like a normal citizen every 2 weeks. If I buy anything in between, it's with cash, okay? Okay. Number 9 thing I have is home garden pop-ups. I think that it will get to a point where it will be so devastating. All of a sudden, everybody else will be like, let's grow our food. We got to grow, right? So you're going to have all these kind of home gardens popping up, people looking for gardening stuff, trying to grow some sort of food. I think that's a hard lesson to learn at that point, because now you're behind the curve. It's a steep learning curve. You are trying to find stuff where panic buying, what happens with panic buying is it will start with the food, but then people will start to panic about other things and will then panic buy other things that maybe can even be replaced. And if you get to a point where there's no food, baby, you're not gonna be able to find no garden hose and rakes and gloves and different things that you want for the garden. That stuff's gonna be cleaned out, because it's gonna be like the pandemic when all the baking stuff was cleaned out, because everybody was at home and wanted to start doing stuff, right, with their families and do things. And a lot of them got into gardening, a lot of them got into baking. And so there was times where it was very hard to get baking stuff, because everybody and their mother was baking and at home doing stuff and cooking more, right? And it's the same thing with gardening. When this implodes and people start realizing, oh my goodness, there's not that much food, we need to start growing our food to offset some stuff to survive, right? Something to go with these rice and beans, something to go with these staples, right? It's going to be an issue, because if you're looking for anything at that point that has to do with gardening, it's a wrap. Seeds, it's a wrap. Okay, so you need to learn now to grow, save seeds, stack seeds, stockpile seeds. It's important, because you're going to have a large part of not just the country, of the world trying to get their hands on seeds and being able to trying to learn how to grow food all of a sudden, okay? And when we talk about crimes, food crimes, that's the thing, is like everybody's gonna have these pop-up gardens, but you're gonna have people that are starving, that are gonna be hopping fences just so they can hopefully get an onion and a tomato that they could fry up and eat. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's important. That it's important to know that that's what you're gonna have to deal with if people can see stuff. And number 10 thing I have is, so this is prediction or just an afterthought, is think about all of the jobs that will be lost once we get to the point where the food has disappeared. All the people that work in grocery stores, any kind of market food place that sells food, okay? There's no reason for them to have a job if there's no food there, okay? So all those clerks, all those people, they're gone, right? All those food managers, distributors, all those places, they close down. They're going to shutter down, because they don't have anything because what happens is when a rationing system, not everybody can get stuff. And when I say everybody, I'm talking about the places that actually sell food to us, and they're going to shutter, and you're going to see collaborations with the government and their rationing system. You're going to see things like, hey, everybody has to shutter, and it's just going to be Walmart that sells food, okay? And that's your distributor. That's where you go to take your ration card and get what you need, right? And farmers and stuff will only feed into these centralized locations, okay? You're going to see that. All right. That's what's going to happen. All these other stores, grocery chains, whatever, they're going to shutter. They're going to shut down, and there's going to be centralized locations or companies that are allowed to stay open. The food will be distributed to those places, and then that's where they'll start some sort of rationing system from. And I know some people might be sitting here like, man, you're talking about a lot of tin hat, foil hat stuff, conspiracy stuff. This would never happen. Okay, baby. Don't listen to me. Keep it pushing then. Go on and watch your TikTok videos of kittens all day. I really, at this point, you know what I'm saying? People are talking about this so much. And if this is too much for you to handle, then it is what it is. It's too much for you to handle. Okay. But I'm trying to convey that these are the types of things that you might see that are going to happen if it gets as bad as we think it's going to get. Okay. So huge job loss in grocery industries. Think about the fast food industries. All those shutter. All those people that work at any type of fast food place, gone, unemployed. Restaurants, same thing, shuttered. All those places, all the people that work at those places, shuttered, gone. Okay. I think the places will really try to stay open as long as possible. But if you thought we had an issue with restaurants and stuff during the pandemic, imagine they can't get the food at all. Okay, it's not a matter of people being able to come or being told they can't come. It's a matter of they don't have the product that they are a business for, and therefore cannot stay open because they can't get the eggs. Okay, and they're an egg breakfast place. Okay, I think you will see restaurants try to shift as much as they can, but all foods are in danger, you guys. Everything's in danger. Okay. And then the last thing I have is 11 is the final card, and that's starvation, that's famine, that's world famine. That's the world having a problem with feeding their people. I think it will be interesting to see how different countries handle this, how different countries feed their citizens, if at all. I think you'll see with world famine, huge migration. You will have folks who will literally, there's no food in their area, but they've heard that there's crops or food being grown in certain areas, or there's these these government distributor locations, and people will migrate because they don't want to starve to death, you guys. So you can't blame them. They will migrate to where they hear or think the food is at. Okay. And that could be migration to other countries, or that could be other people migrating here from other countries. It's going to be interesting to watch how this unfolds with countries and who supposedly ends up having food and how do we handle this. But we got to be careful because it's the perfect storm for agendas that they want to start. So I'm going to stay home, mind my business, and try to live on rice for as long as we can. Whatever. And grow food. Now is the time that if you're already growing food, take a look at what you're doing and amp it up, right? Add to it this year. If you're just starting your garden back up with what you did last year and not adding anything, I think that's a mistake. I think you should be adding as much as you can, okay? And as you go through the year, if there's certain crops, certain things that you can year round be adding all the time, keep those crops growing, growing, okay? As much as you can where you live, with your zone, all that stuff. So yeah. All right, so let's get into some tips. That was kind of a tip already. So boom, there's a bonus one already. Another one is listen to your store distributors, your workers, your clerks, your baggers, your managers, anybody that has to do with food industry. Listen to them. If you have family members, friends, whoever, and they give you advice, they give you tips, they say, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. Listen to that information, because that's how you start to hear when the ball starts rolling towards real concern, real issues like, oh, here we go, it's about to get real. You're going to be hearing it from those industry workers first, okay? You're going to be hearing it from the, when you start seeing stuff shutter, like restaurants or fast food, they just start shuttering. That's going to be a big concern. Those are red flags. Red flags are information that you're getting from those folks. Excuse me, from those folks, right? So when when August and Farms and Azure and those different places send out those letters to different people, different creators, and tell them, hey, we're going to have an issue with not getting stuff. Listen to that information, because that intel is vital. to you knowing the beginning of, oh wow, we're actually there. It's about to get real. Okay. Those are signs that get you closer to the very number one thing on the list, which was panic buying. Okay. So listen to them. Next thing I have is keep stacking canned goods. I think that you can't go wrong. I'd rather you also be preserving food, canning food, dehydrating food, all of that stuff. But I think do not stop doing canned food. If you're a homesteader and you're like, I can, that's fine. But supplement, you need canned goods. Get that stuff. Everybody should be doing. First of all, prepping and homesteading, they go together. And anybody who disagrees, wow, like they go together. All right. Somebody who homesteads, somebody can be like, well, you homestead, what are you doing stacking canned goods, or vice versa, right? You're a prepper. Who said you can homestead all of a sudden? Like they go together. It's preservation as a whole. It's preparedness as a whole. Okay. And so those two mesh together. Okay. Whether you want to believe that or not. So keep stacking your canned goods. Next thing I have is keep hitting your fruit stands, your favorite stores for your fruits, right? Go to the places you know have great fruit and fruit stands. Get as much fruits and vegetables as you can and preserve. Dehydrate them, dry freeze them, can them, water bathe, make a jam, jelly, whatever it is. Preserve fruits and vegetables. You have canned goods, maybe you have some rice and beans put away, some staples, but you have got to have your fruits and vegetables, okay? Or have a fabulous way to back that up, to supplement that, okay? Right? You have those fruit and veggies pills that you plan on taking, but baby, those are expensive. So I don't know how long you're going to be able to, stock those and do those. Whether it's, okay, I'm going to grow food, but growing food is not as easy as possible, and it's not a lot, okay? But you've got to get going on what you're going to do for fruits and vegetable and your game plan with that. Okay. You've got to have that in your diet. Next thing is give your children the answers. We've recently been having extra conversations with the kids about things to say and not say when the conversation of food comes up. Okay. I'm going to give you an example. Nephew came in. This was a couple months ago. Came in, grabbed 2 waters, right? He just had come home, came in, grabbed like 2 or 3 waters, some water, bottled water, and took it out the front door. I said, whoa, where are you going with that? And it's not that I'm like, whoa, I'm watching how much water he's drinking and none of that. But something told me like, what are you doing with that? And he was taking it outside to his friends in the car. They had all played basketball and he was being nice and he was taking them some bottled water. Now on the surface, super nice, caring, is the thing to do, but I had to have a conversation like, look, recently, hey, remember when you did that? There's no more of that. Okay. That was nice. That was kind. I want you to stay that way. However, things are about to get rough with food and you can no longer be doing that because you now, when you do that and you share food or you share stuff and you feel sorry for somebody, then they will continue to keep coming back because they know you have stuff. Now, do I expect these boys to come back looking for bottled water? No. Okay. But I'm just used it as an example to kind of express to him, there are going to be people that need help. You're going to have friends who are maybe starving or need help, and you're going to want to help them. Okay. Us as Christians are going to want to help people. And so explaining to children and kids, you can't do that. And you sure as hell cannot be explaining how we're preppers and we're prepared and we have food. And so you need to be giving them the answers that don't bring up food. But if food is brought up in your conversations with your friends and things like that when you're out and about, that you tell them what to say, to be very nonchalant, like, man, it's rough at our house, man. This food situation, I hope it gets situated because we don't got nothing to eat. I'm sick of it. I miss my McDonald's and I miss this. And to steer conversations the way that you want them to steer them, okay? That keeps them safe. That keeps you safe, okay? The minute they start talking about, oh, we're eating good every night. Yeah, we're fine. Nothing's changed at our house. That's bad, okay? And then those kids run home, tell their parents that, not meaning anything, and now those parents are knocking on our door. Talking about, I heard you might have some rice for me or whatever, okay? So give your kids the answers and start talking to them now, okay? All right. Next thing I have, I have two more things, you guys. Get your home ready and fortification ready. Get your home ready now to fortify it. Do all your preps, your pre-staging, your pre-gaming stuff to get things ready for when you have to fortify your home. Watch your home. You're going to have to watch your home and protect your preps. Protect whatever food you have. You're going to need to have that, okay? Windows locked, doors locked, you know, security lights, cameras. Possibly if it gets real bad, you know, windows boarded up, whatever, okay? Gates triple locked, you know, garages triple locked. You're gonna have to make sure you're on top of your game with this stuff, because you're gonna see food crimes, okay? You're gonna see people who are going to want to possibly hurt people to be able to not starve. You'd be surprised what a mom or a dad will do when their children are starving, and what they will do, stuff that they would have never done in their lives, but what they will do to get some food in their children's bellies. Okay, so don't underestimate that. And the last thing I have is get ready for food changes. What people see. Talked a little bit about this at the beginning of the tips, but things like, hey, barbecuing outside, letting the whole neighborhood smell that you have hot dogs and hamburgers and chicken, and you're barbecuing it, okay? No, you're not going to be doing that anymore. You bring that in the house and you use the George Foreman, okay? Garage doors open where people can see you have 10 cases of water, and you have some buckets that say food, and or you have some cases of food that you got from Costco, right? Bulk food. And every time you open the garage, your neighbors can see that you have bulk food from Costco in their garage, okay? If you've had neighbors come over and you had bulk food in your garage, move it, okay? Move the water, move the thing, and let them see an empty garage a few times, okay? So they can physically see, oh, that food is gone. They must have ate it. They must have been working through it. Times are tough. Inflation is high. And hopefully they say something like, oh, what happened to all that food and water? And you'll be like, baby, we've been going through it. Like, inflation is real. I haven't bought groceries for a minute. Like, we had to eat that. We're eating that. Right? So correct it if you can, okay? What else examples I have? Cat food. And birthday parties. Things like birthday parties where you used to have like a party and you'd have, you know, meat and food and cake, and, you know, that stuff might have to stop because you don't want the neighbors to see that you can get all this stuff. Where'd you get all that stuff when we can't even get food right now, okay? Don't be naive and let people see what you have. Cat food. This is another example. So we have a cat. She's predominantly outside cat, and she's been staying outside quite a bit. Well, we feed her outside in the front of the house. So every morning and evening, if anybody's paying attention, they see us come out, get her some cat food, okay? In the morning, in the evenings. Now you would say, that's not that big of a deal, it's a cat. But it will become a big deal if people cannot find cat food. They cannot find food for the... Okay, you guys, I think it cut off just what I was finishing. People will be petty, okay? And if they can't find their cat food, their dog food, and they know that you feed an animal outside and they're trying to procure dog food, cat food, whatever, and they know that you do that outside, they'll wait till you're gone and steal that food, okay? So you have to be careful about what you're seeing, letting people see now, make those changes. And if you're not doing the changes now, you're definitely doing them later, okay? You're definitely not letting people see you feed your cat outside. We're going to be feeding the cat in a different location, behind the fence line. You know, different things like, you know, barbecuing. Those days will be over. We won't be doing that, letting everybody know that we have, you know, meat to be barbecued up when you have families who will be starving and will not have that. Think about this. You're going to have starvation right away. It's not going to be a warmed up thing. You're going to have people that as soon as panic buying starts and there's no food, while the government and media and everybody's talking about it, those families are starving. They cannot get food. They might be able to get food for maybe a couple more weeks from food banks, from different places, from entities who are still naive and going to want to help. Now, even the fact that they're not going to be able to always help, but they're going to help for as long as they can. But those families are starving within weeks. They're going to get to the point where they can't get the assisted food. They can no longer get food from the grocery store. It's gone. Maybe they depleted asking their friends for food, and that's it. And there's no more. And so the desperation and starvation that comes behind that is going to be very, very bad. Okay. So I know that's a lot. I know this was a longer video. I think it's important to just start thinking about food, thinking about strategic things that you're going to do when it comes to protecting your food, getting food, stacking food. I don't think we have enough. Even me, who's been preparing for years, we don't have enough, you guys. You know, we're a large family. We're eating, you know, we rotate our preps. It's not like I just put away stuff and that's it. So I'm concerned because you're talking about famine and you're talking about that's not something that will be corrected overnight. That's not even something that's going to be corrected in a couple months, let alone people trying to make it a couple years. That's hardcore, okay? So keep prepping, keep doing the things. You guys are doing great. If you're a new prepper, you're doing great. You're doing fine. Just continue one day at a time. Hopefully I'm not getting you too hyped, okay, and scared. Don't be scared. There's no fear, because the good thing is that you now know and recognize that you need to prepare. And that is 10 times ahead of everybody else who's not doing anything to prepare, okay? So you're doing great. And I will see you guys not tomorrow. It's Sunday, but I will see you guys first thing Monday. And we'll get it popping. All right. Take care. Bye.